What is the number one question that everyone who declutters asks? To keep or not to keep? Yes, it's the actual question. That's literally what you're doing when you're decluttering, right? But this question can really trip us up, but it doesn't have to be. The answer to that question can be very easy. Let's talk more about that. Well, hello friends, I'm Mary Beth with At What Cost, where simple living and deep faith go hand in hand. And yes, I cut it all off and it feels so good. So when we start decluttering, we're in it because we want to declutter all of the kind of negative things, right? Like we're so unsatisfied with the way that we feel, the environment around us, the uncomfortableness of just living with too much. We recognize the problem, we're ready to get rid of things, and then we start actually handling all of the items. And suddenly it becomes difficult to pass along all of those things that are actually contributing to the way that we feel. The problem we run into is that we are feeling dissatisfied, right? And so we're looking for something to happen by getting rid of these things, by changing our environment. What we're really looking for is contentment. And unfortunately, we're just not gonna find it through our stuff. In order to understand contentment, we have to start looking at the opposite of that. Now, I want you to buckle up because we're about to go on a little journey, my friend. And trust me, the destination on this journey is so much better than like a 10 tips to help you declutter faster. Well, all those things are very useful, and I wholeheartedly agree. You need tips, practical tips as you go through this. But what you need more than anything is a shift in the way that you think about these items to begin with. That is gonna take you farther than any other tip ever will. So let's go back to the beginning. Well, not quite the beginning, but like sort of like the beginning. We're gonna go back to the book of Exodus, chapter 20. You know it. Say it with me now. The 10 Commandments. Yep, you're right. Specifically, number 10. Who knows what it is? Put it in the comments right now. Just pause the video, put it in the comments. Don't look it up, but tell me what number 10 is. Do you know? Let's find out. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife or husband, or his male servant, or his female servant, or his ox, his donkey, or anything that's your neighbor's. And you may be asking yourself, Mary Beth, what does this have to do with clutter? I don't have extra donkeys laying around. Maybe you do, I don't know. But for the most part, I think when we look at this commandment, we tend to look inward and say, you know, I'm not lusting after someone else's husband. I'm not lusting after someone else's house. I mean, we can enjoy someone else's house and think and dream about what it may be like if we lived in those conditions, but this commandment is one that I kind of have under wraps. And friend, I felt that way for a long time too. Unfortunately, many of us have a problem with coveting. We may just not really fully understand the definition of it. So let's talk definitions. I love this definition, and I'm paraphrasing this, but it is from the book, The Envy of Eve by Melissa Kruger. Maybe you're familiar. I have talked about this before, but I want to go back to it because this is an essential concept for us to understand when we are faced with this question of keep or not keep. So essentially, Kruger says that coveting is, and this is so easy, friend, you will remember this, it is wanting what you don't have and not wanting what you do have. Isn't that simple? But it really cuts to the essence of what it's saying here. The problem is we may at first glance be able to use this as a way to hang on to things, right? Because surely we don't want to be accused of coveting because we no longer want the stuff that we have. Seems logical, but that's not exactly how it works. The first problem is wanting something that you don't have. When we look at this idea of wanting what we don't have, we've got to go deeper than, I could use a new pair of pants, or those shoes are really cute. I wonder if they have some in my size. And even the Those pants look so cute on her. I wonder if they would look that cute on me. This idea of coveting goes so much deeper than the surface level desires for something new, something different, something fresh, a change of scenery. That's not the same as coveting. This is the deep stuff, the stuff that's way under the surface. And it's the stuff that leads us to the second part of this, not wanting what we do have. When we are coveting, we're essentially telling God, I don't trust you to care for me. I know you gave me a house. I know you gave me a job. I know you gave me a husband. I know that all of these things are from you, God, but I'm just not satisfied with them. See, the things that you gave to her over there, those are the things that I want. And that's hard. That's really hard. It means that we have to take a good, honest look at our own hearts and our own conditions when we are encountering all of the things that we have here. And I know that it may not feel quite as dramatic as thinking that. Really, when we say, God, I don't trust you to provide for me, or I'm not satisfied with what you have provided for me, in a very real way, we're saying, what I want is better than what God wants for me. I should look to myself or my stuff to find security, to meet my needs, to make me happy. So the real question is, what do I expect this stuff to do for me? A good example of how this can play out is in our sentimental items. And I know some of y'all are gonna be real mad at me about this. And I know as you get older, you want some of these things around to kind of trigger your memory and help you remember the good times that you've had and the things in your life that sometimes as we get older begin to fade. And that's hard, and I know, and I get it. And I totally respect the idea behind sentimental items. I myself am a very sentimental person, but we can't live in the past. We can't hang on to our sentimental items in hopes of retaining some of what we feel like we've lost. And yes, sentimental items can be good. It's actually quite biblical for us to keep sentimental items. There are times when God has said, keep this as a memory, keep this as a remembrance of me, so that when your children ask what happened here, you can tell them about the faithfulness of the Lord. Sentimental items can help knit our families together. It can help pass down wisdom. It can do many good things, but it can't take the place of God. And when we begin to hold our items, sentimental or otherwise, in the wrong place, it can have consequences for us that lead to disaster, both spiritually and sometimes physically. That was the issue I had in the beginning of our minimalism journey. I sort of had coveting and stewardship a little mixed up. I felt like because I was taking care of my stuff and hanging on to my stuff, especially the things that I had spent money on, that I was being a good steward of my items. And I certainly wasn't just walking around wanting other people's stuff all the time. So I may not have been coveting, but that's not really what was happening. I was looking for the next trend in home decor to make me love my home again. I was looking to have extra clothes for my kids to make sure that if it became time for family pictures or a holiday, that they were dressed in a way that would tell everybody how great of a family we were or how well it was going, even if it felt like at times things were just burning down around us. We were gonna look good for those pictures. The stuff in our home had completely taken over in all the wrong ways. Let's talk about a little less controversial of a topic, shall we? Crock pots. I know, maybe for some of you, just as controversial as the sentimental items, but your crock pot, your coffee maker, your kitchen ninja smoothie maker thing. Are you hanging on to it because you actually use it, benefit from it? It has a place where it's stored, it's easy for you to clean and put away, and you use it responsibly. If that's the case, then keep it. But If every time you pull the smoothie maker out, you think to yourself, gosh, I need to be making more of these. I need to make healthier choices. I'm really not doing the things that I could be doing. If those are the sentiments that looking into these items conjures up, it's probably time for them to go. Hanging on to things out of guilt, even remorse, obligation, those are all the wrong reasons to be hanging on to things. It again is asking us this question, what are we placing on this item that we should be rightly placing on God? The smoothie maker is not going to change my life. It's just not, especially from the back of the cabinet where it's like dusty and dark and you didn't even remember it was there. It certainly isn't going to change your life from there. When we keep things in their proper place, it allows us to freely walk in the will of God. I've used this example before too, of my suitcase full of stuff and like chasing after the Lord with my little carry-on suitcase full of teacups and stuffed animals and extra clothing for seasons that don't even occur in the place that I live any longer. It's weighing us down. It's holding us back from actually running freely in the will of God. So as you're faced with this question to keep or not to keep, pray about it. Think through it. Figure out what's actually going on here. When you meet that resistance, why is this so hard for me to get rid of? And deal with that issue. The thing is just the thing. It's nothing more than an inanimate object that we have placed some value on. More often than not, it is much easier to answer that question when we keep our things in the right view. Thanks so much for watching today, and please subscribe if you have not. We are almost to 26,000 subscribers. What if we could get to 50,000 subscribers? Like, what would that look like? I wonder if we could do that. Would you share this video with a friend so that we can try and get there? If you watch this video and you're not subscribed, will you hit the subscribe button? I'm looking to grow. It's a season of growth, y'all. Thanks so much for watching, and until I see you again, keep fighting the good fight.